Hi guys, how are you doing tonight? It's Caitlin. I am just about to go to bed, but I'm just gonna say hi and see what's going on. So tonight I want to talk about, do we need fiber to be healthy? I always get a lot of questions about fiber. Everyone says, well, you have to have fiber or you're gonna have an unhealthy microbiome. You're gonna have no poops, you're going to be constipated. So, is that true? Well, my experience has been completely the opposite. I ate so much fiber for so many years. When I was paleo, when I was keto, I've been trying to heal my Hashimoto's for 10 years. And I ate so much fiber. I ate so many flax seeds, so much almonds, so much hemp seeds, so much chia, because I was always struggling with very slow digestion. And so I would just tell me, eat more fiber, eat more fiber, eat more fiber. And they said, eat more broccoli, eat more greens, eat more any kind of plants, just eat more and more and more. And the thing was, I got more and more bloated, more and more constipated, more and more miserable. I gained weight. I gained about 30 pounds after I got Hashimoto's, and I could never lose it. And it was just so miserable. I was always just feeling like I was going to explode. It was like it would go for days, like it was awful. So after I started carnivore, 24 hours later, all the bloating was gone. Now it took a few more months for me to figure out the constipation. Really, what I figured out now is that the constipation is from, now that it's no longer the vegetables that were making me so bloated and so stopped up. Now I just think it's an electrolyte balance. So I figured out, as long as I take about 2 to 3 teaspoons of salt in addition to my food, I will go to the bathroom, no problem. So, every once in a while when I travel, or if for some reason I have to take a medication or something like that, which I try everything I can not to do that, I will stay able to go to the bathroom on my own with no extra supplements or anything like that. So fiber has been a menace in my life from the beginning. I never had really digestive problems until about 10 years ago when I got Hashimoto's. So but the day I started to feel those Hashimoto symptoms, like the fatigue and the weight gain, for me, it was fatigue and I also got joint pain in my elbow. When I started feeling that, it was like my digestion just stopped and it was terrible. So before that, I really didn't have a lot of digestive problems. I never really worried about it, but then all of a sudden, overnight, I had terrible digestion and it was just completely like at a standstill. So I'm just going to talk about fiber for a second, and then we're going to answer questions. So now, thinking about fiber, you have to go back to the beginning. Where did this whole idea about fiber come from? One of the big proponents of fiber was, guess who? The cereal producers. It was Kellogg. It was Will and John Kellogg in 1906 were big proponents of the fiber idea because they wanted you to eat their cereals, right? So it's, I don't want to get into, I'm not a big conspiracy person or anything like that, but they were Seventh-day Adventists, and that is a fact. So they were that is an agenda of Seventh-day Adventists to spread vegetarianism. So the more grains and cereals that you eat, to them and their religion, that is a good thing. So, that is, and all the big people who are in nutrition in our country historically have some connection to Seventh-day Adventists. So you have to realize that is where this fiber message comes from. The people who wrote the original books about nutrition in this country were all involved in that movement. And so you have to question where this advice comes from. So the fiber is coming from a source that has the fiber ideas and the actual fiber are coming from a cereal company bigwigs. So that's kind of troubling. And they also, I've read about, there was another lady that was really involved in creating the nutritional information that our country was kind of based on, going back, 100 years, was very involved in the church, and she believed in making people lose their libido and lose their desires for carnal behavior. And so they all knew that fiber and cereal and grains would do that to people, and following a vegetarian diet would make people less hormonal, would make them more, they would have less hormones, they would want to be less active sexually. So that's pretty scary that was what the real motive was. It doesn't have anything to do with pooping. It doesn't have anything to do with microbiome. It doesn't have anything to do with health. So I think that is pretty weird, and that it really should be based in actual science, and that's the reason. And I studied a lot about the GAPS diet when I was in nutrition school, and I followed the GAPS diet for a long time. And that's from a lady named Natasha, who's a doctor from, I think, Eastern Europe or Russia. And she cured her son's autism with the GAPS diet, which is a very low fiber diet. And that was one of the first times I ever read about that. And it was just so fascinating. And she was so into healing the gut lining. And she always said, cook all your vegetables, like cook them to death. And there's certain, I know flax, that it's something similar to that, is a specific carbohydrate diet, is sort of similar, has a lot of overlap. And that, in the specific carbohydrate diet, you're not supposed to eat flax seeds. So, there's a lot of old school wisdom about diet that people have been taught. That was Elaine Gottschall, I think, wrote the SCD. So this information, and this was all used to heal people with very severe digestive problems. And so we can take a lot of that wisdom today and, apply it with the carnivore diet. And it's been very, very, every single person I've ever talked to, said first, sometimes they get diarrhea, but then it all evens out after about 3 or 4 weeks. And then they start going to the bathroom normally, and they're just, the immediate thing with the bloating. I mean, I just used to shove vegetables down so much, and I was so miserable. And it was just so fascinating that as soon as I gave up the vegetables, I was so much better. And so anyway, I think those are some things to think about when you're talking about fiber, and the idea that fiber is something we all need. It makes me so miserable, and I just feel so amazing. I just went out and had a steak with some butter on it. I had a ribeye at a restaurant, and I feel amazing, and I'm not even full. I can go to bed right now. And, if I ate a bunch of fiber and stuff, I would be like miserable. So anyway, those are my thoughts about fiber. I mean, ask anyone who's been on the carnivore diet for a few weeks, and they will tell you that their bloating is gone. And I used to eat big, huge bowls of salad, and I just thought, I would be having gas all the time. And I just thought, oh, that's because I'm so healthy because I eat so many vegetables. And it's like, it doesn't mean that at all. So it means, a lot of vegetables can be very hard on your gut lining. And the thing with autoimmunity is when your gut lining is porous, that means undigested food particles are getting out into your bloodstream. And so it's heightening that autoimmune attack, and everything, your body's like, storm the troops, because it has to fight all those undigested food particles, and that raises the level of antibodies in your body. And then your body is like freaking out and attacking all these undigested food particles that are in your bloodstream, but really should actually pass all the way through you. Your your esophagus is like a garden hose. It shouldn't have holes in it. It needs to go all the way through. Your small intestine is where the food is absorbed. And then in your large intestine, that's where everything is just pushed out. So when you're getting all that bloating, it's when it's fermenting and you're miserable because you have all this undigestible food that it's trying to deal with. So when you're small intestine, you should not have porous gut lining. You should not have food that's getting out into your bloodstream. So it's really important to heal and seal your gut lining, and that will lower your autoimmunity. That will let your body heal itself, so you're not just in this constant state of war with your body. So I think that's so interesting. And without healing the gut lining, we're not going to slow down the autoimmunity. We're not going to be able to feel our best. And, half or more of your feel-good hormone, your neurotransmitters are made in your gut lining. So if your gut is a big, like a colander for spaghetti, then you're never going to heal up and everything's going to be messed up and you're not going to be able to make those neurotransmitters. So you're going to be depressed and sad. And, that's another video, but it's all connected. We're taught in Western medicine that everything's separate and we should, take this for one thing, take this for another thing. And then it's eventually we're just all messed up. And really, it all starts in the gut. We seal and heal that up by eating really nutrient-dense foods like steak and eggs and butter. And then we will heal that gut lining and we'll be able to absorb more and our bodies will be able to heal themselves. So I hope that makes sense and, gives you a little background on where the fiber comes from. So, all right, if anybody has any questions now, I will answer them before I go to bed. All right, so let's look at the comments over here. Hi from New Zealand, from Daniel. Linda says, good evening. Alexa says, hello from Melbourne, Australia. You guys are up. Now, everything is a lot more regular and happier with no fiber. That's from Lisa Hawking. Great, Lisa. I get my fiber. David Chan says, I get my fiber from an occasional avocado, cheese, and I think that's double hands. All right. Humankind always ate veggies and fruits as well as animals. Well, that's interesting you say that because one of my favorite vegetables was broccoli, and broccoli is something that I ate so much of. And I learned that broccoli is, I think it's a mustard green hybrid. So you would have never found that in America like 100 years ago. And you got to also think about the refrigeration and the trucking. We wouldn't have had all these weird foods all year round without refrigeration and trucking and planes. And, a lot of the vegan foods that we get, like quinoa, that's not sustainable at all to be flying it up from South America when we could eat a cow that's made in our own town, that's grown in our own town, and one thing dies, So, and then, my sister lived in Peru for a while. She said that the crops that they have there that are sold in the US, the people there can't even afford them because the prices are jacked up so high and they export all the things that are worth anything up here. So, or to countries where they buy them. So there's a big carbon footprint with that, especially with the vegan foods that are superfoods and those kinds of things. Okay, so David Chan says, sorry, fiber's not in the cheese. Okay. So that was Chef B saying humankind always ate veggies and fruits as well as animals. The broccoli, the mustard seed, that was hybridized into like 6 or 7 vegetables that we eat now, but we didn't have those vegetables before. And people, even 100 years ago didn't have them. So to think that we were all shoving down broccoli and cauliflower when we were hunter-gatherers is just not right. It's not true. So we probably would have been had access to very few fruits and vegetables, and only ate them when we couldn't get anything from hunting, because they have so much less nutrition and vitamins and minerals than meat, and they have no fat. So maybe some nuts or something, but I mean, we can eat whatever we can find, but I'm just saying meat would have been our first choice. And, any kind of fat we could have gotten off the animals. Right. Daniel Smith says, yeah, I found that a lot regular without fiber. Yes, me too. I didn't even realize that I had a regularity issue until I went carnivore, which I've been 7 months now. Yeah, really changes you. All right. Well, those are the comments. Anybody else have any more questions? I hope you guys are having a good weekend. I'm out. I went to see Downton Abbey today. It was really good. And then I went out for steak at a restaurant, like I said. And my first steak was overcooked. And I mean, it was like $23 for a ribeye. So I sent it back because the waitress was like, she asked me straight up in my face, like, was it good? And I just couldn't lie. Like, there was not one bit of moisture left in it. So, and I had said medium, but it's like, sometimes those restaurant ribeyes, they're so thin that it's like, if you cook them at all, you really just need to go sear because they're so thin. It's like a 12 ounce, which mostly at home I eat 1 pound ribeye. So anyway, I got another one. It was much better. It was more like medium rare when they brought it back, but I wasn't going to be picky again. So I just ate it and it was perfect, really. And I put butter on it and it was a great save. I'm glad I didn't just try to choke down that dry, overcooked steak. All right, let's see. If you have any comments about what video I should make next, I have one coming about eating out on carnivore, because you guys said that was one you really wanted. And I thought about doing a series on which diet I've done and why I quit. So if you think that's interesting, I've done just about every diet when I was trying to heal myself. And so tell me if you think that'd be interesting and which one I should start with. So I think I'll start with why I quit keto, even though I believe that keto is part of carnivore. I guess I can just explain that in the video. All right, guys. Well, I hope that you are having a good weekend. I think this is like stalled out or something, but it's just been fun talking to you. Okay, Daniel says that would be good. You like that idea, why I quit keto? I mean, I still think I'm keto, I still have ketones, but I don't really track anything because it's so much easier not to. And I enjoy carnivore a lot more because you don't have to worry about your food so much, and you don't have to buy all this expensive nuts and seeds and broccoli and cauliflower. I'd rather pay for meat than broccoli that's like $5 to get organic broccoli. I'd rather get like half a steak for that, wouldn't you? And it makes you full, that's for sure. All right, guys. Well, it's getting late. So great talking to you. I hope you're having a good night wherever you are. Get outside and get fresh air, breathe, get away from your electronics, get some good sleep. Yes, I save money, but because I have a big freezer and I like to fill it up with meat. And I buy sparkling water, so I could probably cut that out and save a lot of money, but all right, guys. We'll see you next time. Please subscribe if this video has been helpful, and think about why we don't need fiber. And please leave me a thumbs up, and you can go to my website and subscribe at grassfedlist.com so you never miss one of my new thoughts or new blog posts. All right, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.